Perfect. Okay, well, it's a couple minutes after 12 Mountain Time, everyone, so I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining us for our September School Garden webinar for Slow Food USA's National School Garden Program. We're really excited to be joined today by our partners at the Whole Kids Foundation, who are going to be talking about their school garden grants. So I'll go ahead and do a brief introduction. We have Dan Merrick, who is the school programs educator. Prior to joining the Whole Foods Foundation team, he was a healthy eating specialist at the Whole Foods Market's flagship store in Austin, Texas, and it was Dan's job to educate the local community about healthy food. He provided hundreds of cooking classes and demos for schools, churches, and businesses, and had the opportunity to work with some of the country's top chefs. Now working for the Whole Kids Foundation, he's excited to be working with kids and food. And we're also joined by Tristana Perkel, who is the program specialist for the Whole Kids Foundation. In college, Tristana followed her love of food and its connection to health through her studies in human biology at Stanford University. And after graduation, Tristana coordinated the children's services for a Bay Area nonprofit that serves families in need. And now she's excited to be working on the school garden grant program through the Whole Kids Foundation. So I think we'll go ahead. I've muted everyone except for our presenters because I know that sometimes there's a little bit of background noise. Just to make sure we hear everyone okay, I've gone ahead and muted you, and then at the end of the presentation for Q&A, I will unmute you and invite you to ask your questions. So I think we can go ahead and get started. Thank you, Dan and Tristana.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much for having us today. We're really excited to share our information about gardens and a couple of the other programs that we present as well. So, as you can tell, this is Dan and Tristana from Whole Kids Foundation. Today we're going to be telling you a little bit about our organization and a lot about our garden grant program as well, too. So we actually started as a foundation in 2011. As you can see, our mission is really to improve children's wellness through nutrition, supporting schools, and inspiring families. So we really believe that given the right opportunities, kids can get excited about eating fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and other nutritious foods. So we actually started out in 2011 by giving salad bars away to schools. We partnered up with two great organizations, one of them being the Chef Ann Foundation, who a lot of people call the Renegade Lunch Lady because she had the audacity to change the way school was served in lunch and really kind of change the format of that. The other partner is Let's Move, and it's actually Let's Move Salad Bars to Schools, Michelle Obama's organization that really started looking at school nutrition and really trying to make a difference in school food reform. So we actually give the salad bars away all year. It's a grant that any school can actually apply for. We usually want them to be on something of the free and reduced lunch program so we can help show them how to transform the food that they're actually ordering and making at the moment into something that they can fill with this salad bar. But we found that the kids are actually eating 3 times the amount of vegetables when they actually have the option. That actually makes quite a lot of sense to think if you're going into, say, like a grocery store and they had a salad bar and they had the packaged salad, you'd probably go for the salad bar instead because you could actually pick out the ingredients that you can want and mix and match the ones you want instead of having one package where there might not be some things you want on there. So we find that kids actually do eat quite a bit more of the vegetables when they're doing this, and it's been quite successful. We actually do a training kind of thing along with that, and Chef Ann helped us do that, called the lunchbox.org, which will be at the references at the end of this PowerPoint as well. But you can always look at the lunchbox.org to really see some of that school food reform that's happening around the salad bar grants. Again, you can actually apply for that grant anytime during the year. All you have to do is go to wholekidsfoundation.org, follow the links for our grants for the salad bars as well. We at Whole Kids also believe and really, the best principles for healthy eating really comes in simplicity too. So we actually live by these 3 principles. It's eat a rainbow. So eat a wide variety of colors to get a wide variety of nutrients. Eat leafy greens first, which, those greens have the most nutritional bang for your buck out of them. and eat as close to nature as possible. So try to eat unprocessed foods as much as possible. We use these 3 tenets actually a lot for our Healthy Teachers program. The Healthy Teachers program is a really kind of cool and unique idea. It's designed to provide teachers and school staff that healthy cooking technique and healthy education. So what we're really doing is giving teachers information about basic nutrition and then giving them a free 2-hour class that's taught by Whole Foods team members or our partners, either at the school or at the stores, to really kind of give them access to unprocessed foods and then show them how to use that nutrition education and nutrition inspiration to really take that home, because those teachers are with those students for 7 to 8 hours a day, so they can be some of their biggest mentors. So we really want to give those teachers the tools in their toolbox to really have the best information on what they can actually be inspired for those classrooms as well. So those 2-hour classes are available through all of our Whole Foods markets. If you want more details on that too, you can always email me at healthy.teachers@wholefoods.com. So those are kind of an overview of our first 2 programs, the Salad Bars and the Healthy Teachers programs. And I'm going to let Tristana take it over for here. If you have any questions about the first 2 programs, just wait till the end of the presentation, and I'll be here to answer those questions as well.
Well, thank you, Dan, and thank you all for being with us. It's just so exciting to share this information with you and connect directly. I'm really excited to hear all of your questions. And thanks, Lauren and Slow Food USA, for hosting us. This is a really great platform, so we're excited. So like Dan said, I'm going to be sharing with you, focusing the majority of our time now on our Garden Grants program, sharing a lot about it and allowing you to ask questions at the end. But our Garden Grant program is a chance to help schools and organizations connect kids to their food. We know we're around a group that we don't really need to explain too much about the benefits of that, but we essentially really believe that if kids grow it, they'll eat it. This program was created in partnership with Food Corps, and moving forward now we work with Food Corps to review all of our applications, as they are our subject matter experts. They are an AmeriCorps organization in schools and organizations helping to make a lot of these changes happen on a day-to-day basis. So we really love their support and input. But this is an opportunity to receive a $2,000 grant to support an edible educational garden on the grounds of a school or an organization that works with children in the grade ranges of K through 12. And when I say in the grade ranges, I mean a school that serves any of those grades. So elementary, middle, high school, a school that serves all grades, all of those are welcome. We also support all types of schools, public, private, charter, and I'll go into more detail around the nonprofits. We support schools and organizations in all 50 states and Canada. So while we were founded by Whole Foods Market and received a lot of support from them and love when our schools can connect with our Whole Foods Market stores, we also support communities and states, areas where there are no Whole Foods Markets. So we do want to make that clear that you do not need to be next to or close with, have a relationship with the Whole Foods Market store, although we do love to see that happening. And to date, we have granted a little over 3,000 garden grants and soon to be a lot more this upcoming spring. So we do have 2 garden grant programs. This is the first year that is happening. We have our school garden grant program and our extended learning garden grant program. I know that the majority of people on this call will be dealing with school garden grants, but I just wanted to highlight the differences in case there's any confusion. So the school garden grant program is for K through 12 schools or a nonprofit working with a school to support an edible garden on the grounds of a school. And our extended learning garden grant we created as an opportunity for all the nonprofits who didn't qualify for our school garden grant program. So this is for nonprofit children's programming organizations that aren't schools that work with kids in the grade ranges of K through 12. Examples could include a Boys and Girls Club that has a garden at one of their sites, or a summer camp that would like to have a garden, children's hospitals, nonprofit children's hospital, really allowing for us to reach more organizations that support edible education. So again, this is a $2,000 grant for a garden at the nonprofit. This is also to be differentiated from just kind of basic support for that organization. It is meant to be for a garden. So if you are an organization that works with schools, we would suggest that you apply for the School Garden Grant Program. So our application process. We do have an annual application that's in the fall. It's open right now. It's open September 1st, and in the U.S. it closes October 31st, so Halloween, and in Canada it closes November 15th. It is an online application. I definitely want to stress that. There is a copy of the application questions on our website, but everything will be submitted online. And then after we receive our applications, we work with Food Corps to review them, and then we notify all of the applicants, regardless of the decision, by February 15th. And then it takes us about a month to work with all of our recipients to sign the grant agreements and make sure we're sending it to the right address, you know, cross our T's and dot our I's. And so a month later, usually by mid-March, we're sending out all the packages. So most grants are received with no hiccup by beginning of April. We usually select about 500 schools for our School Garden Grant Program. Our nonprofit, our Extended Learning Garden Grant Program, we're not 100% sure how many we will be awarding. It's a new program for us. We're really excited to see how many applications we get. Our annual campaign will also determine how many we'll be able to give out. It is a one-year grant, or I guess I should say it's a non-renewal grant at this time. So if you have received a grant for your school in the past, or if you receive a grant this upcoming spring, you're not able to reapply. We are hoping, and we do know that that is a need for the future to allow this, but right now it is a non-renewal grant program. And I do want to make sure and highlight that all of our deadlines for all of our programs are at 5 p.m. Central Time. So if you're on the East Coast, that'll be 6 p.m. If you're in Mountain Standard Time, that'll be 4 p.m. And on the Pacific Coast, that'll be 3 p.m. So what are we looking for? Well, first and foremost, our mission is to improve children's health and wellness through nutrition, through the food that they're eating. So we're really looking for a program that involves kids and engages them in the garden. We really want to see them, you know, gardening and connecting, having that connection be back to their food. We're also looking for a thorough and sustainable plan. $2,000 is a great amount of money to get a garden started. It's enough to revitalize a garden. It's enough to take a garden from a small to a big garden, but it's not enough to keep a garden going over the years. And we really want to see a program that's going to be sustainable for years to come. The third thing is integration into the curriculum and school community. We really see that as being an integral way of accomplishing those first two goals, you know, getting kids involved through a number of their different academic subjects, and you know, allowing for a garden to stay sustainable over time. If it's a part of the community, if it's something that the school can just simply not live without. So with that, with our fourth kind of requirement, what we're looking for, we really like to see that the leadership at the school is involved and invested in the garden program. So we ask for a letter from the principal, just, you know, as a heads up. If anyone hasn't seen the application yet, that is one of the requirements. And then finally, you know, an aspect of making a school garden a part of your school community is also extending it to the greater community. So we ask that all schools have the involvement of a community partner. And a community partner is really, you know, it's just a relationship. We really want to see that a school garden, that people in the community know about your school garden, that they're supporting it in any way that they can. And that can be through financial means, it can be through in-kind donations, or it can just be, you know, the local garden store checks in on you every couple months and gives you consultations and, you know, tells you what to be looking for in terms of pests. Really anything. And it can be a for-profit business or a nonprofit. So those are kind of the main things that we're looking for in the application, but definitely take a look and kind of peruse through it. And then I wanted to highlight to you all this resource that we have called the Garden Grant Writing Tips. It's a document on our website, and it was developed by our Food Corps reviewers. 2 years ago. They, on their own, very organically, as they were reviewing all the applications, you know, in that particular year, I think we had received 1,500 applications, so they really were reading through a lot. They were noticing some things that they wished they could have told the applicants, more around the how to write a grant rather than the what to include, because obviously every plan is different. And they came up with these 7 kind of items to remember when you're writing a grant. And I'll just kind of go over them at a really high level, but I'd suggest reading through the resource. It's really great. They go into examples. They use real examples that they found on the application. So it's a really great resource. You can find it at wholekidsfoundation.org. But just to kind of highlight at a top level, be specific on your grant proposal. You know, really give us the numbers. We want to know how many kids are in the garden, for how long. Just really paint the picture for us. Be unique. We know that every school is different. Every garden is different. Really share with us why a garden is special for your school, for your community. And also, if you're a nonprofit applying on behalf of many schools, please share with us you know, the different aspects of each school. It really is a red flag for us when we see the same application submitted 5 times. It makes us concerned that maybe that nonprofit isn't as connected to the school or isn't doesn't know the specific challenges or aspects of that school. Absolutely, different programs will be very similar across schools, especially if you've learned to streamline things. But we just want to know why is that school ready for a garden? Be concise. That's pretty straightforward in terms of, you know, sharing with us as concisely as possible about your garden. I would definitely recommend reading through the application first before you start writing it, just so that you don't answer all of the questions in that first question of the garden goal. We really put a lot of time into developing the application, so you very specifically ask for certain questions. So definitely take a look at the whole application and only answer the question that's being asked. Be realistic. You know, bigger isn't always better, and bigger might be good for your garden right now, but we're really just looking for a realistic plan that's right for your school. And also, don't be afraid to share with us your challenges and the ways that you might have failed in the past. That really shows us a garden that is willing to kind of work with the challenges it receives. Be strategic. And this one is really kind of important for any grant writing. Understand your audience and who the organization is that you're applying to. Our particular mission is improving children's health and nutrition. And we really want to understand how you're using the garden to accomplish that. And then finally, be sustainable, or not finally, excuse me, the second to last one. Be sustainable. You know, we really want to hear again at how you are going to be making your garden live beyond our $2,000 that we're able to provide. What other grants have you applied for? What other grants are you thinking about applying for? Any small to large type of contribution or support you've received, we love to hear about that. It's a really great indication to us of success. And then finally, don't be afraid to be passionate and just share, you know, everything that makes your school garden unique. It's so contagious when we read those really excited grant applications. So that's a bit about our garden grant programs, and I just wanted to highlight really quickly about our Healthy Kids Innovation Grant. This is another opportunity that we have available right now, and we have been getting some questions about it, so I just wanted to highlight it. This is essentially an opportunity for us to find new friends, the next big idea in improving children's health and nutrition outside of our current programs, outside of garden grants, salad bars, and health and wellness classes for teachers. We're really looking for a program that has been piloted at you know, even just the smallest level of a classroom and is ready to scale. And ready to scale doesn't have to mean, you know, across the country. It can mean just across a grade or within a school. So we're really looking for the smaller programs, but we're also, you know, excited to receive any other ideas that would be wanting to scale on a larger level. It is a $15,000 to a $25,000 grant. And if it sounds a little broad as I'm describing it, that's on purpose. We're really looking for a new idea, and so we don't want to put too much parameters around that. It is a two-step process to allow us to kind of receive that huge breadth of ideas and kind of narrow in what we're looking for. So the LOI, or the letter of intent, is due by October 31st. And then the full application, if we've invited you to move forward, is due December 15th. We have gotten some questions about what does an LOI mean, and is it a letter? It's just a grant writing term for a first phase of an application. It is still online and still through our regular grant process. And we definitely encourage you to contact us. My name's Tristana, and the best way to get a hold of our grants team is to email us at grants@wholekidsfoundation.org. I will share that we receive a lot of emails, which we're so excited to support. But just know that we're getting back to you. We do our best to respond within 48 business hours. Sometimes it takes a little longer, sometimes it's real fast, but just definitely work with us. And then, as Dan shared, his email is healthy.teachers@wholefoods.com if you're interested in the Healthy Teachers program. And for any of the other programs, you can obviously email either of us, but you can also just email info@wholekidsfoundation.org. And then finally, here are some important links and resources to leave you with. Our website, wholekidsfoundation.org. Saladbarstoschools.org is the main resource for salad bars. The lunchbox.org is a beautiful website that has a number of resources all about school food reform. Really lots of great stuff on there. Foodcorps.org, that's the organization that supports our school garden program and does a number of healthy eating initiatives in schools and organizations. And then here are our emails again. And then finally, this is the email, the website for the Slow Food USA National School Garden Program.
And all of those are actually
Thank you so much, Tristana and Dan. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, Dan.
Oh, all of those resources, too, in case you didn't write them down quick enough, are available on the Whole Kids Foundation website as well.
Yeah, maybe even if you want to go back one slide, we can keep that one up during Q&A.
Great.
Wonderful. Thank you both so much for all of that great information. We really appreciate you breaking down the different components of Whole Kids Foundation and then more specifically the school garden grants. I am going to go ahead and unmute everyone and invite people to ask questions now. Also, you can feel free to type your questions into the chat function. It looks like we have one right now, so we'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll unmute people. It looks like Emily from Capitol Hill Elementary in Portland, Oregon is asking if the Healthy Kids Innovation Grant will be available in 2016, and if they spend time this coming year developing a larger idea, are the deadlines going to look the same for 2016?
Emily, thank you for your question. That's a really great question. The Healthy Kids Innovation Grant is a one-time opportunity. We're not expecting it to be an annual opportunity like our other programs. It's more of an opportunity right now to find a next new idea. However, stay in touch with us, and it might be in the future. But if you have an idea, just go ahead and submit it, and do your best to share with us what you have cooking.
Yeah, we're kind of looking at it as a pilot opportunity at the moment to kind of see how it goes. So if it goes really well, we might have it next year, but we don't really want to say too much further than that at the moment.
Okay, great. And my colleague at Slow Food USA, Andrew, is asking if pre-K schools or daycare centers can apply for a school garden grant.
At this time, organizations that only serve pre-K are not able to apply to our school garden grant program. If the program does include kindergarten, you can apply. We are sorry to our preschool and daycare center friends. This is just an opportunity for us, one, to put some parameters around our program, and two, our mission is really to improve children's health and nutrition, and we feel that at a kindergarten and above, that has a much more success at a little bit of an older age. But right now, we're not. If you just serve preschool, you can apply But again, we're just in our 4th year of existing, and we hope in the future to be able to provide that.
Okay, great. Thank you. It looks like Katya is asking if a district can apply for multiple school sites under one application.
A district can apply for multiple schools, however, not under one application. We really assess an application per school, by school. We're really looking at the individual community at that particular school. We all know every school is so different from the next one. So a school district can apply on behalf of multiple schools from their accounts, but they have to submit a separate application, receive separate letters from each principal for each school. Hope that makes sense.
India wants to know if everyone will have access to the PowerPoint presentation. Yes, the PowerPoint presentation and this webinar is being recorded and will be posted on Slow Food USA National School Garden Program's website. So you can definitely refer that to colleagues and go back for future reference. Pamela is asking, we are a nonprofit neighborhood center that, in addition to being a licensed preschool, is an after-school program serving young children ages 5 to middle school. They started their school garden program last year. Okay, I'm not sure if Pamela is asking a question there. I'll go ahead and unmute you, Pamela. I'm not sure if you're asking a question or just sharing with the group, but I've unmuted you if you have a question.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. There was a question, which was, are we eligible to apply as an after-school program?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Pamela. I think your question was, are you eligible to apply? And you are eligible to apply to our Extended Learning Garden Grant Program. It is your type of organizations, the reason why we made that available. So as an after-school program that serves kids, K through 12 or in any of those grades, you are eligible to apply to the Extended Learning Garden Grant Program to support your garden.
Do we also need to have a letter, well, because there's multiple schools, so do we need to get the letters from the principals for those?
Well, let me ask you this. Where is the garden located? Is that your site or is it at each of those schools?
It's at our location.
Is that your location? Okay, so no, you don't. And when I was really describing in terms of the requirements was for school garden grants. I apologize if that was confusing. You do not need to have a school partner in order to apply for the Extended Learning Garden Grant. You simply have to have a letter from your executive director or from your leadership. But no, you don't need to have a letter from each of the principals. You're welcome to include that if you feel that would be supportive of the benefit it brings to their students, but you're not required to have that.
Also, we have a number of neighborhood partners and volunteers that work with the children after school. They're local colleges, students, college kids that are participating. So I'll just define that in the grant application.
Great, absolutely. Yes, don't hesitate to share.
Pamela, did that answer your question?
Okay, thanks.
Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and mute you again. Okay, looks like we have a question from Molly Wall with West County Digs in Richmond, California. She's asking about, for the Healthy Kids Innovation Grant, can nonprofit organizations apply for this? They support school gardens in West Contra Costa Unified School District.
Absolutely. Nonprofits, individuals, schools, we're really looking for anyone to apply to that program. It's kind of a pilot opportunity for us. And again, we are looking for innovations kind of outside of the typical programs, that our 3 programs that we support. So if you have a new idea that relates to your support of gardens, we would love to hear it.
Molly, I just unmuted you. Did that answer your question, or do you have any follow-up for Tristana?
No, I think I'm good, and if I do, I'll just contact her individually. Thank you.
Okay,
Great, thank
wonderful. Looks like Brenda from Sacramento is asking if an NGO, non-governmental organization, or nonprofit works with multiple schools, should they apply separately for each school or with one application, and would they qualify for multiple awards?
Yes, you can definitely apply for multiple schools, but you'll need to submit a separate application for each school. And the way that works is you create an applicant account, and then you will have to write separate applications for each school. You can use the same fiscal sponsor account, which would be your organization's account, so you don't have to enter in your organization's account multiple times. But as I shared earlier, we really do look at an application on a school-by-school basis. And as to your second question, yes, you can receive multiple grants for different schools within one grant year. We usually, because we have to spread grants, you know, if we do 500 or more across the entire United States and Canada, we're only able to give a certain amount of grants to your particular area. So I would say to not apply for more than 5 at a time. You can apply for more than that, but that's on average about what we can give to one organization. Not to say that we would be able to give all 5, but we kind of share that as a good number so that you're not writing too many grant applications.
Brenda, did that answer your question? I've unmuted you if you want to have any follow-up.
Yes, thank you very much. That makes it very clear.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Great. Okay, it looks like the next question is a follow-up from Emily in Portland. The garden project they're requesting for is part of a larger outdoor classroom project. Can they apply for both? And would you be interested in hearing about it?
When you say both, Emily, do you mind unmuting her, Lauren? I'm wondering what you mean by both.
Yeah, I will unmute her right now. There you go. Looks like she's muted herself, so Emily, you'll just have to unmute yourself on your end.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Oh, sorry. I was inquiring about the innovation grant. I'm curious if we send a letter of interest in with the larger outdoor classroom project, which includes the garden, would we be restricted from applying from the garden grant?
No, you wouldn't be restricted. You wouldn't be restricted at all. You're welcome to apply to both. But again, I know it's not very clear. Our Healthy Kids Innovation Grant is really trying to look for an idea outside of garden grants, and that really goes, and when we say garden grants, we just mean gardening with kids in any function. You're absolutely welcome to submit an LOI, but that isn't quite what we're looking for. But, you know, maybe you have a great idea that I don't know about yet. So, you know, just within that context, you know, you can decide if you feel that it would be a good fit for that program. You're welcome to also email me if you have a specific kind of idea and you wanna share it.
Okay, great. Allison Smith is asking about applying for the school garden grant. She is a parent and their school PTO has nonprofit status. Does she still apply through the school garden grant?
Yes, and we have gotten a little bit of that confusion. So the difference between the Extended Learning Garden Grant and the School Garden Grant, the Extended Learning Garden Grant isn't for a garden at a school. The School Garden Grant, there is the option to apply, have a nonprofit apply on behalf of the school if the garden is located at the school. The key differentiator between those two programs is where is the garden located, not who is applying for the garden. The garden is at the school, then the PTO can apply on behalf of the school garden. We have, that is, I don't even know, maybe like 60% of our school garden programs. A lot of PTOs and PTAs receive the funds on behalf of the school. So it's very common for us. You'll just create a fiscal sponsor account for that PTO.
Allison, did that answer your question?
Yes, that did. So just on the first page when I list on the application where I list all the information, I put everything about the school, and then that second page where it asks about your fiscal sponsor, then I attach everything from the PTO.
Yes, ma'am. Perfect. That's exactly how it should go.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Moving on to the next question that's in the chat function. Marlon's asking if a school and city public recreation center are on adjoining properties, can they both apply for a grant to be used at the shared location, meaning $4,000 total to work with? And Marlon is unmuted if you want to qualify your question at all?
One would be for a school grant, the other would be for the other grant, because one is school-based and the other one, but it is an adjoining property.
And the garden is both at it's the same garden, essentially?
It would be the same garden. We would find a site that would be accessible to both organizations.
While we really appreciate that the garden is being used in many different purposes for school and for non-school uses, we only allow for one grant at one location.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Beth wants to know, they are a public K-12 school. Do they have to have a 501c3 documentation letter? And if their garden project is budgeted for more than $2,000 and they're applying for other grants, how should they fill out the budget section? And I'm going to go ahead and, Beth, if you want to speak, looks like you're not muted.
Beth, so to answer your first question, your private school, I think you said.
Public school.
Your public school, okay, then no. Public schools are considered to be nonprofit schools within our definition, so you don't need to include 501c3 documentation. You will just need your NCES number, and to get that number, if you don't have it, it's a 12-digit number. There's a link through the form as you're filling out the application, but you can just go to NCES. I think .edu. It's essentially just an education statistics, national education statistic database that helps us understand and identify each of the public schools. And then I think, could you repeat the second question? I think it was about funding.
I'm not sure if Beth is connected to the microphone right now, so I'll just ask the second question again. She's saying if her garden project is budgeted for more than $2,000 and they're applying for other grants as well, how do they fill out the budget portion of the application?
Definitely a great question. And we love to see that. And we know that gardens come in all different sizes with all different budgets, and that your budget might be larger than $2,000. There is, in the budget section, if you read through the application, it might be a little bit more explanatory. There is a section that asks for your entire budget. So, if you have a $20,000 garden budget, laying out what all the costs are for those $20,000. And then the next question in the budget section asks, how will you be spending the specific $2,000? Understanding how our contribution would support you. And then the third question in the budget section is asking, how are you receiving other funding? So let us know all the other grants or ways that you're funding that $18,000 out of the $20,000 for your budget. So I hope that makes sense.
Okay, great. I'm going to skip Amber's question and circle back to it because she seems to be having some issues with the audio. So we'll wait till she's back online before you answer her question. It looks like Marlon is asking, are school gardens that are established, for example, 1 to 3 years, eligible for grant funding to use for additional infrastructure such as an irrigation system?
Absolutely, Marlon. We really see gardens in all different shapes and sizes and ages. So brand new to pre-existing, as long as the funds are being used to support the garden, which is then used to connect kids to their food, we accept any type of project that it's going towards, from irrigation to breaking ground to a greenhouse to allow you to grow in the winter time. To aquaponics, anything that allows you to grow with your kids and do that effectively is good by us.
Okay, wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and unmute everyone right now to see if there are other questions that people would like to ask not through the chat function. Okay, so everyone, unless you've self-muted, should be able to speak now.
And if I I could make a request, since Lauren has unmuted everybody, if you could mute yourself if you're not asking a question, that would help us hear everybody a little bit better. Thank you. Do we have any more questions?
I was able to smell a flower.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone again, since it seems like people don't have questions they want to ask out loud, but we'll circle back to Amber's question.
Muted.
Lauren, I'm sorry.
Oh, there you go.
I don't have the questions up in front of me just because I still have this page up, but...
Sure. So in case she gets back on and is able to listen to the recording, Amber's question was, we are a Canadian school and FRPL does not apply to us. However, we do offer an emergency lunch program. Would this be comparable?
Absolutely, Amber, and this should hopefully be a bit provide more explanation on the form itself. On the school form, under FRPL, you can either put 0 if you're a Canadian school, or we ask that if you have an equivalent program that somehow indicates how many students you support through a need-based program, please include those numbers. So that emergency lunch assistant program that you shared is a great program to indicate.
Okay, thanks, Tristana. I think Amber might not be on, but hopefully she'll go back and be able to hear that response.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any other questions at this time? Okay, Tristana and Dan, did you want to add anything or show people the application through your screen?
Yeah, I'm definitely happy. I thought, everyone, that I could just go ahead and walk you through a test application, more to show you the technical side of things rather than, what to put on it. I also did want to just really encourage everybody to get started now. I know the deadline isn't for another month, but, we support, last year we received 1,400 applications, 50% of which we received in the last 2 days. And those last 2 days, we can't really answer 700 emails. So if you're having an issue or any type of technical glitch, we really want to be able to support you. So definitely go ahead and get started. And again, we appreciate your understanding as we support everybody.
And while Tristana is pulling up the application on her end, I just wanted to remind everyone that Slow Food USA, our National School Garden Program, myself, Lauren, and my colleague Andrew are really excited to be able to offer schools and nonprofits and slow food chapters our technical assistance around applying for these grants. So if you have questions, we're happy to talk you through it. Andy has applied for dozens and dozens of these grants in Denver. He's very experienced with the process. We're happy to read over your application drafts to help you make it as strong as possible. Please email is Lauren, Lauren, at slowfoodusa.org, and then it's also Andrew at slowfoodusa.org. Okay, thanks.
Great, thanks so much, Lauren. What an invaluable resource. You guys are the best. Okay, well, I thought I'd just share everyone our application. And, I'm going to take a step back and show you how did I get to this link. So this is our website, wholekidsfoundation.org. Under schools, you can go to if you are either a U.S. school garden or a Canadian school garden. And then under resources, you can find our Extended Learning Garden Grant Program. But on this page, you can either click on the side banner, Apply for a Garden Grant Today, or click on the Apply Here button. All of the buttons will go to the same location. So we receive all of our grants through the same portal. To create an applicant account, you're just going to create a page, an account here. The applicant will really be the main contact for the grant. So this is going to be the person that we're going to include, that we've received your grant, that if we would like to give you a grant, we're going to be letting that applicant know. We'll be working with them to sign the grant agreement. let them know that their package has been sent, and then finally, about a year later, asking them to provide a progress report. So please include someone who's going to be in contact with the school. We also copy the school principal and the garden coordinator or the fiscal sponsor in all of those emails, but the applicant should really be the main contact. So all this information is required. I'm just going to go back and log in from my test account. So from this page, you'll just click continue. This is just kind of a landing page. And then from here, you're going to start a new application. You'll see that it says that I've already started an application. That's because I submitted one last year through a test. So if you're seeing that and this is your second time applying, don't be alarmed. Go ahead and create a new application. From here, you'll see all the different programs that we have available to apply to. I'm going to do a test account for the USA School Garden Grant. And this is our eligibility questionnaire. So you should be able to say yes to all these questions. You know, are you a nonprofit school or a nonprofit working with a school that is K through 12? Would this be your first grant at this location? Because we don't provide renewal grants at this time. So if you've already received a grant, then you're not able to apply again. Is this principal aware and supportive? And then will this be an edible school garden? So will you be growing things that anybody can eat, not necessarily flowers? While flowers are beautiful, we are definitely looking for the healthy eating component. So from here, you can either choose your school or create a new school account. So you might be choosing your school if you're reapplying. Say you submitted a school last year, or say you submitted an application for your school for another grant program. You should see your school in this drop-down menu. For our purposes today, though, I'm going to create a new school account. So I'm going to call this Test Slow Food School. Pick the country, you'll pick your state. From there, you'll pick your county, and then the type of school. So depending on the type of school, you will be asked for different kind of tax ID or a unique identifier for your school. So public schools will all submit an NCES number. In order to find your NCES number, you can look it up here at the nces.ed.gov website. And then and this is the same for a public charter school, and if you're a private school, you have the option to either include your EIN number or your NCES private school number. The NCES private school number is a little bit different from the public school number, but you can also find it on the NCES website. Just go to school search and search for a private school. So I'm going to enter in a fake account for a public school. This is just a test, so I'm going to be using not very clear items. You'll include your principal's information, and again, we'll be contacting your principal along with all the other communications that we send out regarding your grant. Total number of kids involved at your school or kids enrolled at your school. And again, this is the free and reduced price lunch section. If you are a Canadian school and you don't have any type of equivalent program, or if you're a private school and you don't have any type of equivalent program, you can just put 0 or share with us the numbers of any type of need-based program, whether that's a scholarship program or, you know, the Canadian school with Amber mentioned, an emergency lunch assistance program. You can put that as well. Title I. You can also share with us your website, your school's website, your Facebook account. For reviewers, if you do have information about your garden, that's a really great way to see even more visuals about your garden. That's interesting. we were having some technical difficulties. So that can happen. So definitely give us enough time to support you if that's going on. Huh. Okay. I'm not going to stay on this, and I'm going to look into that, but this is how you submit a school profile. And then from there, I'm going to show you the pieces of our application. So once you've successfully gone through that piece, you will be brought to this page, which is the fiscal sponsor page. If you do have a fiscal sponsor, say you're a nonprofit applying on behalf of many schools, you'll either, you will say yes, and then it'll bring up this page. And you should, if you've already created a fiscal sponsor account, you can select it from this drop down, or you can add a new sponsor. I will kind of show you that page right now. It's very basic, just your organization's name, EIN number, contact information, a copy of your 501c3 documentation, and then the primary contact information. So from here, I will click Save. And this brings you to this page. It's not an editable page. The project title is automatically your school's name, and the amount is always going to be $2,000. That's the grant that we give. So you'll just click Save and continue from here. Other grant programs do allow you to edit that. So this is the meat of our application, the narrative questions. You can't go on to each section until you've completed the entirety of each section, filling in all of the red, this value is required questions. However, you can go on in between these top tabs in between. So this asks a number of questions. I definitely encourage you to check out our website and see a copy of the application questions, just so you have a full view of that, and to actually just give you a view of what that looks like, where that's located. Again, it's under schools, either one of our garden programs, or under resources for the Extended Learning Garden Grant Program. And to get a copy of the application, you can just click on one of these links. This is also where the FAQs are, the grant writing tips I was referring to, and our really handy School Garden Resource Center. So back to the application. That was the narrative question section.
Oh, Tristana, can I make one quick point?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just that because the questions are available to people in a Word document format, it might be a great idea if people not only read the questions ahead of time, but fill out their questions in a separate Word document and save it, just in case people have issues with the actual online portal. Then you'll have a backup of all the questions, and then you'll have it saved on your computer.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lauren. That is such a good best practice, to save your application questions. It is a lengthy application, so sometimes, computers lose connection between these different sections. We did try to kind of truncate it so that there are small amounts of pages that need to be saved at a time, but it does happen. And to that technical question or technical point, I will also suggest our application tends to work the best with Google Chrome. So if you can, use that internet browser and try to use the most up-to-date version. I know we are all using old, new versions of computers that aren't always able to do the most up-to-date version, but try to have Google Chrome. And if you are experiencing issues, just try logging out and restarting your browser and seeing if that fixes that issue. But just to highlight the other final sections of the application, this is the documentation section. We ask that you provide a photo, no more than 3 photos to kind of highlight your garden space, and that those photos are no bigger than 5 megs. If you do have a brand new project, then just show us pictures of the space that you think the garden will be. Where will it be enhancing? As well as this is also where the signed letter of support, either from the school or the executive director, will be. And then this is the section that is extra. It's optional. It's where you can just itemize a list of all the different types of support that you've received for your garden, whether that be in-kind, consultations, other grants, or other types of support. And then finally, this is the final review page where you can identify everything that you've filled in and make sure that it's all good. You can also print a copy right here, and then from there you'll submit it. When you successfully submit an application, you will receive an email stating that you have. So if you don't receive that email, then it's not submitted. And then you should also see it say workflow status should be changed on this main landing page here to submit it with a date. So that's kind of a general overview of the technical side of the application. And let me know if you have any questions before we wrap up in the next couple of minutes.
We did have one more question from Katya asking when this webinar will be available to view, and hopefully we'll get it up later today or by tomorrow, and then people can definitely refer to watching the recording.
Great. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I just want to say thank you all for your time. Really appreciate being able to share with you a little bit more about our program. And don't hesitate to email us at grants@wholekidsfoundation.org with any further questions.
It looks like there was actually one more that snuck in here.
Okay.
About how long does it take to complete / fill out the application with all the information?
You know, I think that probably depends per person and depends on, you know, if this is a brand new garden and you're trying to put together all the different parts and pieces, you know, how many volunteers will you have, and talk to the principal and try and find a new community partner, versus if you're an already established garden and you're just kind of, you could do this in your sleep, identifying all the different parts of your garden and how many volunteers and all that good stuff. I will say that it will take you some time. We really are looking for gardens that are ready, and we really feel that this application, if you can fill it out with all the different pieces of what is needed for a garden, that you're ready for a garden. So I would definitely say, you know, at least a couple hours. But as to Lauren's suggestion, absolutely print it out and take a look beforehand and make a copy before you get online.
Thanks, Tristana. And John from Slow Food Prescott in Arizona also just wanted to extend thanks. One of their schools, Mountain Oak, received a grant from you guys 6 months ago. So thanks, John, for reaching out. So we're on the hour, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Slow Food's National School Garden Program and the Whole Kids Foundation on this webinar. And don't hesitate to reach out if you have any additional questions. Thanks again, Tristana and Dan. We really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.